Thanks everyone for joining us today. I'm calling this meeting of the Missouri Highways and Transportation Commission back out of recess, and we'll reconvene the open meeting at this time, 2:30, Thursday, November 6th. Commission Secretary, please call the roll.
Commissioner Urban.
Here.
Commissioner Boatright.
Here.
Commissioner Smith.
Here.
Commissioner Hedeman.
Here.
Commissioner Slade.
Here.
Commissioner Baker.
Here.
All present.
Well, thanks everyone for coming. We just came from Kansas City where we had the November meeting, productive meeting, lots of exciting things going on. And then we came down here because we wanted to give the public an opportunity to testify today on this matter and to see the presentation. So we appreciate everyone coming and welcome you and thank you for being interested in this topic. As we move forward today, I have a reminder for all that we are live streaming this open meeting for the public to view from their home or office. If you're speaking, please make sure you speak into the microphone and that the microphone is near you so that viewers may hear what is being said. Next, I want to review a few procedural items. We're pleased to offer the public comment to every Missourian that wants to come before the commission. The main public comment period was held in Kansas City today. As noted on the agenda, this afternoon's public comment period is limited to those who wish to speak only on the location and design of US Route 63 on the agenda today. Those are the only comments that will be open for hearing today. Any of you who would like to address the commission, please do sign up as soon as possible. As a reminder, by commission policy, we do have a 5-minute limit per person per testimony, limited to this one agenda item today. So with that, we are going to take up the request for approval of location and design of US 63 corridor improvements. And I'd like to recognize Michelle Watkins to open it up. District Engineer Michelle Watkins.
Hi, thank you. Chairman Urban, Commissioners, Director Hassinger. During my 33 plus years of serving the central region, I've been approached many, many times about the desire for safety improvements and for improvements in traffic flow on US 63 in our district. Those inquiries or those requests came in lots of different ways, some through customer calls or letters or emails, but many came through during major prioritizations, like our rural statewide major projects meetings that we had early on, through multiple iterations of the development of our long-range plans over the years, through public meetings of our planning partners who prioritize needs within their regions, but also more recently in the development of our high priority unfunded needs lists and in project prioritization for the statewide transportation improvement program in recent years. So because of that great desire and the many times that I've listened to those needs of users of that system, it is my pleasure today that we're bringing forward a recommendation for approval of location and design associated with US 63 from Route 50 to the Marys River. It is my pleasure to introduce now Assistant District Engineer Randy Albert, who's going to give you an overview of the history of the need, a little bit about how it's been studied, public involvement associated with it, a little bit about what we learned during the more recent public involvement period and how that actually influenced the recommendation coming to you today. So I'll turn it over to Randy.
Thank you. Welcome.
See if I'm doing this right. There it goes. Good afternoon, Chairman Urban, Commissioners, Director Hassinger. Today I'm here to present the US Route 63 corridor realignment project in Osage County. In the early 2000s, our regional planning partners approached MoDOT with the need to widen and realign this corridor through central Missouri. They brought concerns with them regarding its increased usage and crash history. As shown here, you can see that these safety concerns have continued today with 7 fatalities and 12 serious injuries in this section over the last 10 years. On April 27th in 2006, MoDOT and state planning partners met to discuss the future transportation needs. A total of 40 projects were presented and prioritized at this statewide meeting. The US Route 63 study was ranked as the second highest transportation need in Missouri. In September of 2000, MoDOT, in coordination with the Federal Highway Administration, completed the US Route 63 final environmental impact statement, or EIS, for this 47-mile corridor from US. The preferred alternative was identified. This section was divided into segments. Specific emphasis was placed on improving safety on US Route 63, improving traffic flow, and improving the north-south four-lane continuity. As part of the EIS process, multiple involvement opportunities were held. These included meetings to hear concerns, to view initial developments and along the corridor with those concerns and hearing emerging alternatives through the process, which included in the draft EIS. So we fast forward about 10 years. No funding had been to move any further with it. In 2019, it was identified and once again elevated through the high priority, and it was also included as a tier 2 project district. With the advancements of projects, because of the increased investment in infrastructure, this first segment was moved into the STIP in 2023. In order to move forward with the design development, and because of the length of time since that had surpassed since the original EIS had been completed, it was necessary that an additional EIS was required. The focus on that reevaluation was to assess if the original findings were still accurate. With the reevaluation, additional public comment period was conducted along with a requested meeting with property owners. That reevaluation was approved by the Federal Highway Administration in June of this year. So shown here in blue, the preliminary design for this first segment utilizes the preferred alternative shown in the EIS just west of the current roadway. A new interchange is shown to provide connectivity with the city of Westphalia, along with an overpass on Missouri Route 133 across the new route. So these next two maps that I'll show here depict displays that were used during our public hearing. They also point to the fatality and serious injuries along each stretch and how traffic is supposed to be managed across this new alignment. So in this first map, and kind of in an effort to help orientate yourself, north is to the left. You can also see some other features there where it ties into US Route 50, and then the Osage River is kind of running through the bottom corner of the screen there. The current alignment of US 63 is displayed in blue, and the new alignment is shown in white. Right at the side of the map, you can see the new overpass constructed over Missouri Route 133. The next display, we pick back up on the left side with the Missouri Route 133 overpass. We head to the south and we reach the new interchange to be constructed to head into Westphalia. And then we tie on where the existing Marys River Bridge is, headed into that 3-lane section of climbing lanes up US 63. So the public meeting coincided with a public comment period. And MoDOT basically heard 70 comments via mail, email, web, comments, and writing. During our public hearing, over 240 individuals attended that hearing. They viewed at least one of 3 tabletop displays that detailed these maps that I just showed. MoDOT staff from design, right-of-way, environmental, traffic, communications, and district answer questions. There's a shot of, some of the gathering of that information during the public comment period. So items we heard during that hearing and within the comments that we received centered around these items. They include access. So currently the original setup showed access at the location there at the Westphalia interchange. It also discussed that interchange location, where that was positioned and why. It talked about emergency response and how that was going to be impacted with this new alignment and with relation to that one connection into the city. It talked about and navigate as a result of building that connection into the existing system. It also talked about the location of the alignment and how was, we're back to how that alignment was chosen and the factors that went into that. We had discussions over how the process of right-of-way acquisition is taken and handled, why this section was chosen as the first one. We also heard comments relating to the tie-ins near the Marys River and how that connection on the south end of the project handled and whether there were opportunities for improvements in that spot. So as a direct result from the comments that we received in that, we do have some adjustments from what we were able to display during that public hearing. With respect to the needed additional connectivity and access, a connection on the north end near the shown here in the map display with the circle. This connection will improve truck access to the system. It will operate as a right in and right out connection. In combination with that connection on the north end, we also are going to incorporate the use of J in that location to facilitate additional emergency response to that end of the limits of the job. Will include J-turn access of the project, and that will help address road access to County Roads 501 and 502, as well as those. This segment was selected in general just as as I started off the presentation, safety concerns through this section with bodies and 12 serious injuries. We've remained focused on trying to identify and implement a solution that remedies those situations. On the south end of the project, as a way of summing things up, the extension on the south end of the project, we've basically been able to extend the dual lanes into the climbing lane section there just on the south side of the Marys River. So in essence, that dual lane configuration will continue all the way to the top of the hill there as you're heading out on 63. We've also included a turn lane pocket near County Road 611 near the top of that hill. As we heard, that was a concern related to the speed of traffic with this new, ability Steps, approval of the location and design from the Missouri Transportation Commission. This will be followed up by continued detailed design development, right-of-way acquisition, beginning spring, and then following up with bidding and contract award with the start of the project in the fall of 2027. Project completion is set for conclusion. Today, we recommend that the commission approve the location and design of this proposed project as presented at the public hearing, with the addition of a north access to the existing US Route 63, J-turn access at the north and midsection of the new alignment, and the extension of the southbound dual lane to the existing climbing lane south of the Missouri River, or the Marys River, sorry. Thank you.
Okay, Randy. Michelle, do you want to add anything to that?
No additions, just the fact that we're incredibly grateful for the amount of input that the public had to the project. They really showed up to share that, took time out of their days and schedules to have meaningful conversations with us and then follow up in writing what some of their concerns are. And the recommendation that we bring forward to you today really works to try and incorporate what the theme of those concerns were.
I understand that there were some 270 plus direct communications addressing citizen concern, and that the district office had that many direct contacts with constituents here.
We did. We had more than 240 that actually attended the hearing itself in August. We had 270 communications during official public comments during the public comment period. We did respond to each and every one of those comments that came forward. With those responses, we indicated, that we were giving consideration to some of these items. Certainly, we need your approval to move forward with them, but that we were given additional consideration to those items. Some questions, concerns were ones that were about detailed design, and we really can't get in to answer those until we're able to move forward and develop more detailed design.
So there were some amendments to the proposal based on that citizen input.
Absolutely. And those were the ones that were highlighted towards the end of the presentation by Randy.
So this alignment then would lead to more detailed engineering.
Absolutely.
Would be yet to come, and then there subsequently have to be approval of that, and then bids, and we got quite a few steps to go here yet.
We absolutely do.
Yeah. Okay, let me ask if there are other members of the commission with questions here. Okay, hearing none. Director Hassinger?
Well, I think it's just important to note that, Michelle went over, and Randy, the long history here. This has been a need that has been identified by Missourians for literally decades. And then with the action of the legislature and the federal bill, resources have become available, and the prioritization that was done through our planning partners, which are local elected officials that sit on the tax and the MPO and RPC boards, are the ones that say what projects kind of help us decide what projects move forward. So a lot of effort, a lot of work, and now we get down to the details of a project, and I'm really pleased that we had a lot of public feedback. We've listened to that. We've made the adjustments that we can make. Certainly that's not completely done, because detailed design leads to, more fine tuning and things that we can work on. I do know that some of the folks in the audience are direct property owners that are going to be impacted. We know that. We know that any time that you do a new alignment project, which are fairly rare, there will be people that will be impacted directly. When we do that, we make sure that we do that in a fair and equitable way. Statute tells us how we have to do that. But I think even probably more importantly, we take that really seriously. One of the things that we try to do when we work on a project like this is to reduce the impacts to the bare minimum that we can. So one of the priorities of the project, I know from the beginning, was we don't want to take homes. We don't want to split things in half if we can avoid it. But sometimes those are unavoidable. So as we get into the final detailed design, we'll try to make those accommodations where we can, but we just know that some of you that are going to probably talk later, we know that we're going to impact you. And I know that there's really nothing that I can say that will probably help that. But we do care about that, and we try to be as respectful as we can when we go through the process. And this is a long needed project that's going to improve safety and the reliability of the corridor. And we're looking forward to moving this forward.
Very good. Well, to be clear then, the request today is for the commission to approve the proposed design and location of the project, but knowing full well that engineering has to be done, this will have to come back again. And that once you've done that, there'll be a few more steps to go. This is kind of the beginning of that as opposed to the end.
Yeah, the step we need today is so we can move forward with the location and design. That allows us to start working with property owners to, acquire property, to do the things that we need to do with final design. And then the next thing we would bring to you would be the award, the final project for letting an award.
Okay. Very good. Okay, are there any additional questions of the director from the commission? All right, well then, before we consider for action, we're going to invite the public to a comment period. And I have been provided those who registered to give testimony. I would remind you, your testimony will be given here from the phone. This is being fed live, so please speak into the microphone. You do have 5 minutes. Your testimony should be limited to this particular project. And to the extent possible, we hope not to repeat the same thing over and over, but you say what you need to say. So with that, I'm going to call the first testifier forward, Mr. R. Mark Russell. Mr. Russell is here. Thank you, Mr. Russell.
Thank you, commissioners, director, MoDOT staff. It's a pleasure to be here to share with you some of the ideas, and you see there's several here from our county. I'm providing comments today regarding the proposed Highway 63 project. My comments today are centered today around the community and the area residents impacted by the project. MoDOT has proposed changes that may adversely affect the community. The proposed ingress route off of the new project does not match with the existing infrastructure and roads in Westphalia proper. We think redesigning this would seem to be logical and maybe should be considered. In case of fire or emergency needs, Westphalia serves a lot bigger area than just the Westphalia proper town. And we've had some county roads closed off in the county. So it's nearly when you do this, you nearly start bottlenecking or creating a cul-de-sac in a community. Many of the residents within a radius of Westphalia, when you reroute emergency vehicles and different things, there will be longer response times under the proposed plan, and that may not benefit the community, and it increases the potential for property loss and emergency health delays. So there are, we think, some solutions to that. Eliminating the southern access to Westphalia at the Marys River is going to compound some traffic in the community for the Osage R3 school district and the Catholic parochial school, as well as local businesses. In addition, not putting 133 into the new proposed route and creating an overpass and routing it into Westphalia, we think is going to be a challenge. The ingress and egress from a large concrete company that stated that they have 100 trucks in and out of their business every day between Meta and Westphalia and businesses located in Meta will be forced to route through the community to access the new proposed Route 63 South. So they'll be making a loop into town and then coming back out to get on 63. I think there's an easy solution. Proposed changes that we think are concerning also, and we mentioned this to MoDOT early on, that it seems like the Callaway nuclear plant is a long ways away from Westphalia, Missouri. But on the right kind of wind day, and if there was ever a nuclear accident, they are in a path where they have to evacuate the schools, the town, and whoever they can get out of town. If you've blocked off the south exit way and you have to route everybody back through one place to get back out, it's going to be difficult. It is in that, it's located in a designated evaluation path. And we think planning for evacuation of schools and community residents in this instance could be very difficult. I think there's a few questions that we've looked at and studied the MoDOT projects and under the term of safety. And it's because of the dangerous curves and grades going through the proposed stretch. According to the historical data that you've just seen, approximately 8,000 vehicles per day travel through some or all of that proposed project. That's 29 million vehicles in a 10-year period. According to MoDOT, there's been 7 fatalities, 12 serious injuries, and 80 minor injuries over that 10-year period. When you look at that, the new route actually is going to have more curves than the old route. And the data doesn't reveal actually the number of severe or fatal accidents that had 2 or more vehicles involved, which a lot of the 4 lane is what we think we're trying to get away from, is vehicles towards each other head on. Local residents have shared with me that several of the fatalities and serious accidents would not have been prevented with dual lanes in each direction. So dual lanes roads all over the state of Missouri imply one thing: increased vehicle speeds. That would seem to indicate more law enforcement time is going to be needing to monitor that. We think slowing down that corridor to 55, and I know nobody likes to go 55, but slowing it down is going to reduce accidents and increase safety. We think that maintaining and retaining the existing highway corridor, which MoDOT has listened to us, and the northern route is opening up, is good. We like that. One of the suggestions we had was on that old route to design and engineer a dedicated center turn lane at those soccer fields and the Knights of Columbus. So traffic heading north, the traffic that wants to go into those soccer fields can get into a center turn lane, so we're not backing up traffic there in big tournaments that are going on, or tractor pulls or whatever. We think that that's important. Highway 133 needs to be addressed, and I think an exit coming off of northbound 133 directly onto the southbound exit of the new highway would eliminate a lot of those problems of those heavy trucks coming through that town. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Russell. Appreciate your time today. I believe Representative Sassman is here.
No comment, thank you.
Oh, okay. Well, if you think of something, let us know. Okay. Thank you. Next is Gloria Schmitz. Ms. Schmitz.
So thank all of you for being here today and listening to our comments and our concerns and things that we feel are very serious issues. So I want to echo and reiterate everything Mark Russell said. I agree with everything he said. I know I heard the director say a few minutes ago that you do not want to take homes, but we live on a century farm, and I just wonder how that is priority. We can go through farms, but it's just hard to go through homes. You can't buy farmland, you can build a house. I know it's bad either way, but I just really didn't appreciate that comment. The other thing is I did put on my remarks card that I thought narrowing the center medians by use of concrete barriers would be better. Obviously, it would be less land acquisition if you would use concrete barriers. And in the response, yes, they did respond to every one of my comments. but they just said it wasn't safe. Well, concrete barriers are in I-70, Highway 50, Highway 54 at the lake, 179, they're everywhere. So if they're not safe, why are we still adding them to this day? We're still adding them. And then as far as priority, I'm not 100% sure how you arrived at this stretch being priority. When Highway 50, when MoDOT started that project, they stopped because they ran out of money before they got to where the problem really was. The problem is at State Tech. And that we feel is, and I know that there have been meetings, I heard with the Merrimack Regional Planning Commission, that one was supposed to be voted priority, but still this one keeps coming back and safety, and it's themed around safety, and I'm not sure how that even ties in. Like Mark said, the faster you go, the more dangerous I would think it would be, and there are more accidents. And then also, as he said, these 7 fatalities, these 12 serious injuries, are 4-lane highways going to fix that? Maybe those 7 fatalities were someone hit a deer, someone fell asleep, someone was intoxicated, someone was texting. So I feel slowing it down, especially that corridor where the project will begin, which happens to be at our Century Farm, slow it down and enforce it. You have to, if you slow it down to 55 or whatever, you have to have it enforced, because if it isn't enforced, it's not going to work. So as far as the deaths and the injuries, did anyone ever do a study to say why of these fatalities? What was the reason? Was it because we don't have a 4-lane highway? And I just speak from a landowner and Century Farm owner, and so those are my concerns. And like I said, I never heard any real reason that we couldn't do concrete barriers, and that's I see them all the time, and I don't know how MoDOT can say they're not safe and still continue to build them all over the state. So other than agreeing with everything Mark Russell said, that's really all I have today. And I thank you for your time and your consideration.
Thank you, Ms. Schmitz. Next witness is Mr. Vernon Schmitz.
I'm going to decline.
Okay, looks to me like there may be a family relationship here. Oh, okay.
Only 48 years.
48 years. Congratulations. They got me beat by about 18. Next witness is Mr. Floyd Rankemeyer. Rankemeyer, I'm sorry if I mispronounced that.
Very good.
Thank you.
First of all, my name is Floyd Rinkemeyer. I live at 200 County Road 512, and my concern is access from my property to the new highway. It's just going to kind of shut it off. The highway will take basically all the land I have in that area, which is around 20 acres. Can't do much about that, but it will take me away from my cattle and stuff like that. Don't have a whole lot to say. I do emphasize strongly, you guys changed a little bit, that you made a dual highway all the way up the hill. I was going to say that west of Lynn, you've got a dual highway running into a single highway, and then that highway turns off to the left to go into the business route of Loose Creek. And I was going to say, I would look to me like you could do the same thing there at Westphalia on the south end. I do think strongly that keeping that end of the highway open as much as the north end will, I think you'll benefit in the long run. I think there's just, you got to have an in-road and an out-road and a business route through Westphalia, because Westphalia is running parallel with the new highway proposal. Those are the two big arguments I would have, really keeping that end open. And like I say, I'm living where I do live. I will have to find out somewhere along the road my access to the new highway, because it looks like I will be shut off. That's all I have. Thank you guys for listening. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Rinkemeyer. Next, Mr. Kenny Rehagen. Sorry.
Respect all you honorary people for taking the time to listen to us. We have a farm located on County Road 501, and it's going right to the middle of my place. I only have land maybe on the other side of the highway I ain't got no access to. And that's what I'm worried about. And, you know, me and my wife was in an accident 6 years ago, and she's paralyzed from here on down. And I'm just tired of losing. I lost the ability for her. I lost my farm. And that's about all I can say. Thanks for your time.
Yeah. Well, we're sorry to hear that. Thank you for coming today. Okay, next would be Miss Deborah Stegman. Deborah?
I'm Deborah Stegman, and I thank you all for listening to us, and I appreciate getting a response to my comments. And the fact that some of what I've seen here answers, I think, a lot of our questions. But I do have to agree with Mark Russell and all the others who have talked and having access from the south end. I look at what was done when Loose Creek, when 50 was expanded, how many access roads you allowed for Loose Creek. And the original plan for Westphalia was going to allow for 1. You've now made it 2, but I think there needs to be the south end continuation, like others have said, for multiple reasons. The school and the effect that it's going to have on the school. I have a real concern with the farmers and stuff who are losing access to parts of their property. I spent 2 days in September driving all the way to Macon. So I covered the entire 4-lane highway of Highway 63, starting in Osage County, all the way to Macon. And have you noticed how many access roads and crossover roads are on that 4-lane stretch? From private driveways, from farms, so that they can get across property from one side to the other side. I've got counts. Somebody needs to pay attention to the fact that, like others have said, there are accesses that have been allowed with extra lanes for turn lanes and stuff that make more sense than cutting the farmer off so he can't get to his property when you've got him all the way up and down that 4-lane stretch, all the way up to Macon. I appreciate your time. That's what I have to say.
Thank you, Ms. Stegman. Appreciate your time. Next is Miss Elaine Schulte.
No comment.
No, okay, Miss Schulte. Well, I've got it written down here, so thank you for that. Okay, Commissioner Dale Logan, Osage County Commission.
Thank you, sir. Thank you all for being here today, and thanks for letting us speak our piece. I am the Western District Osage County Commissioner, so I'm here. I was asked to come by several of the residents here and others that wasn't able to attend. And then I was planning on coming to myself anyway, as I live in Westphalia, so this actually impacts me directly. A lot of concerns, everything Mr. Russell said, I agree with. I like some of the updates and proposals that they made a few minutes ago. I do have one question, if you don't mind. My time doesn't get too good. Is there going to be 4 lanes all the way up to the top of the hill? So you're replacing the 2 bridges over the Marys River there? Or is that going to be 3 lanes? 3. See, that's my concern. So we're bringing a 4-lane highway into a 3-lane road to a 3-lane bridge. No, let me back up. You're bringing a 4-lane highway into a 2-lane bridge that they're going to expand and make a 3-lane. We're talking about cars right on top of each other, literally. And we're trying to eliminate accidents and deaths. Right here's where they're going to go to, coming into that 3-lane bridge now from a 4-lane highway. The access points, I agree completely. On the south end, we definitely need an access point there. Me personally, and every county resident that has contacted me as a commissioner, no one is for this project. We feel like there's other projects that are more important, Lynn being one, and I know you guys don't want to hear too much about other than this. So we'll stick to this. How about the second corridor of the 63 alignment? The worst part of the 63 highway through Osage County is from Westphalia to Freeburg. It's where all the curves are. There's a lot of accidents, backed up traffic. I mean, we have 10,000 vehicles coming through there every morning and evening trying to get to Jeff City, where we have 40,000 state employees working. It's a nightmare to get through there. Let's do that corridor. If it's about improving safety and road improvement and access, that's the worst part of the highway from Jefferson City all the way to Rolla, is that 10-mile stretch from Westphalia to Freeburg. So as residents and as a county commissioner, that's what we would like to see MoDOT focus on, is where the worst part of the road is. I don't want to downplay the fatalities. Obviously, that's a horrible thing. But this 4-lane road system is not going to eliminate fatalities. And we all know that. There's fatalities on every roadway. Those 7 deaths that you're talking about, 4 of those I know personally that happened. 2 of those people were friends of mine that passed away of those accidents. That wasn't highway issues. That was distracted driving issues. One of them was a snowy accident, and unfortunately he wasn't wearing a seatbelt and he was killed. But it wasn't road. It was distracted driving and road conditions of Mother Nature. So I just don't see how this corridor is going to address the concerns of the community in enough of a positive way. The 133 overpass going over 133 is, in my opinion, an absolutely horrible idea, because we're routing at least 100 and probably closer to 150 18-wheelers, large trucks, down into Westphalia. And I thought if part of this process was to eliminate this access or this congestion we have in our small town of Westphalia, and we're just making it worse now. I cannot emphasize enough how against this project I am as a citizen, that's a taxpayer, and as a commissioner. And so I want to speak mainly for my constituents. You know, I represent the Western District of Osage County, but as a commissioner, we really represent the entire county. And what our county wants is another project done, either the second corridor of this or the Lynn bypass. We just don't see the advantage of the money being spent on this corridor is solving the roadway problems remotely close enough to justify this particular project. We think the other 2, either bypassing Lynn, which is a really, really big project, or doing that second corridor, which is the worst part of 63, where all the curves, Highway E, for instance, between Westphalia and Freeburg. I know MoDOT is looking at upgrading that here over the next few years. There's a lot of accidents there. It's terrible if you guys or any of you are familiar with that coming in and out of there. So we're going to spend a couple $1 million to do that. And if we would reroute that road, there's a couple million you could put towards the 4-door corridor there. I just think this really needs to be rethought. I really hope you guys do not vote to approve this today. I think there needs to be a lot more consideration coming in here. We had a lot of comments, as you mentioned, 270 people sent in the public comment area. 240 people showed up to the Knights of Columbus meeting down there that night. I just really hope that you guys will not approve this project at this time. I think it needs significant improvement. And honestly, I really think we need to do the second corridor first. And I realize that that's some kind of a pain in a way, but my goodness, if you would talk to a percentage of the 8,000 to 10,000 people coming through there today, I guarantee you 100% of them are going to tell you what they would prefer done. And that's the corridor from Westphalia to Freeburg. So again, thank you for the time. Thank you for allowing us to talk. And I really hope that you folks take these serious. We have Century Farms, that you're going through. My farm will be in the 3rd corridor. I have a farm in Marys County, and the projected that time is going through my farm. It's split my 150 acres right in half. But again, I realize there's progress. I realize there's things that happen, but we want to do it the right way. And I can't convince you to not do this project now if it's going to go forward. And again, I hope and pray that that's not the case. I do not think it's in the best interest of Osage County or all the residents driving through there every day. I hope that at least I'm at the access point at 133 instead of routing 150 18-wheelers a day into our small town. It is going to be a nightmare for Westphalia with all these large trucks coming in and out of there all day long. So again, thank you very much, and we appreciate it.
Thank you, Commissioner Logan. Okay, next, Let me get this right. Let's see. Nahias George, Mr. Letter. I'm sorry, I
That's all
really,
right, that's all right. Nick Leopard. probably.
okay, Nick.
Does that sound right?
That
Yep.
works.
Okay, perfect. Yeah. Well, since I introduced myself, my name is Nick Leopard. I represent Geyer Holdings. We have the locally owned convenience store, otherwise known as Eagle Stop, down in Westphalia. Looks like I might be one of the only business owners here today, or business operators here today. Just like everybody else has, first I want to thank you guys, the Commission of MoDOT, for the opportunity to share our perspective on this proposed realignments of the US 63 project. We truly do appreciate the effort and coordination that go into projects of this magnitude, and recognize the importance of improving transportation infrastructure for the safety of Missouri travelers. Although I think today's testimony by some others have raised questions on what safety points are most prioritized. That said, the proposed realignment and associated design changes raise serious concerns about the long-term impact on our business operations and ability to continue serving this community. Our operations as a C-store are built on accessibility and convenience. Customers choose our locations because of their direct visibility and easy access from normal travel patterns. According to the information MoDOT has provided, this realignment is projected to reduce daily traffic counts at our location by approximately 75%. 75%. That reduction, combined with potential limitations on ingress and egress, some of those unknown as they'll be provided in more detail if this project was to continue, would significantly affect our ability to operate and remain sustainable in Westphalia. Experience from other Missouri bypass projects and neighboring state projects have shown that when through traffic is diverted around a local community such as this, the local retail and service businesses often see major declines in sales. These sometimes point to the closure. This convenience retail, fuel, and quick serve dining locations, all of which we represent for Westphalia, are among the hardest hit because of the loss of direct access, removing the very convenience that our convenience stores rely on. It's important to note that Geyer Oil has been actively investing in communities across Missouri through new builds, raise and rebuild projects, replacing older and outdated stores with modern facilities that better serve both our residents and our travelers. These projects represent significant private investment, create long-term jobs, generate long-term tax revenue, and strengthen the communities we operate in. For that reason, it's deeply concerning to see a project design that not only routes a significant portion of our customers away from our location, but also restricts direct access to our site from the new bypass route that intercepts our property. At this stage, we have not seen a clear plan for maintaining ingress and egress to and from our property once the new connector and intersections are constructed. I'll also note that Geyer Holdings, as a property owner, has not been contacted for any approval in June, as it was previously mentioned earlier. Our understanding of the proposal is that eastbound traffic on the new connector would have to turn off the routes and backtrack just to reach us, a convenience store, with interception of the property. That type of circuitous movement is not practical for customers seeking convenience and would further discourage patronage. We are proud of the role our stores play in supporting local economies. We want to continue doing so, but to do that, we need to maintain reasonable access and visibility to the traveling public. We appreciate your willingness to meet with us, these impacts in detail, and explore potential solutions. We're confident we can find a path forward that meets both the goals of this project, preserves the vitality of local businesses along this corridor. Again, thank you, your time, for your continued efforts in transportation across Missouri.
Thank you, Nick, and we appreciate your time here today and the investment that you have made in Missouri. Thank you.
Thanks, sir.
I believe that concludes the registration for public comment. And not seeing any other, we will have some discussion now amongst the commission members and kind of see what the wish of the 6 commissioners is. I might just lead off by saying, I think some interesting questions were raised today, things that I personally was not aware of. And I want to thank the people who made it a point to be here to bring some of these details to our attention. I think they're legitimate questions. I'm sure there are there are answers to those, but I, for one, we're not going to be able to do that today, but I, for one, would like to have some answers to some additional questions that this brings up. And I'm going to defer to the will of the commission, but personally, I would like to defer this decision for 30 days and get some answers to some questions. But I'm just one, so
Agreed.
I'm going to let the director, not quite on script, I realize, but I think raised some good questions today.
Yeah, and I think certainly some of the things that were raised are the details that would be worked out in the final design. Now, some of those, there probably is no, option that avoids those things. I just want to make sure that, some questions have been raised about why don't we do the middle section first. Remember, the entire purpose and what the communities along, maybe not the communities along the route, but the bigger picture, city to Raleigh. So you got to start at the beginning. And the highest traffic volume corridor is the Jeff City going south. That's why you asked why that was chosen. That's why it was chosen. You don't really start in the middle. That's really not a very good, effective way to put a 4-lane corridor in. And there is no doubt a corridor is safer than a 2-lane, with not minimal shoulders. So the solution that has been proposed is what gets us to a safer corridor that moves the necessary traffic that is growing. The corridor between Raleigh and Jefferson City is one of those busier areas in the state. So we can work on some of those details, I think, and we'll answer those questions that have been raised and bring that back to you.
Well, Randy, I've never taken notes, as was I, and I think everyone was. There's a list of questions here that in the time we have today, I don't think we can answer. But I would like on behalf of the commission to request that you prepare responses to the list of things that were brought up today. I'm particularly interested in the question of the south entrance down on the south end of Westphalia. That came up several times. I would like to have further conversation about that. But I'm just one member of the commission here, and if my preference would be to defer this for 30 days to the next meeting and have an opportunity to get some responses to those questions.
And Mr. Chairman, I would like details on the traffic being routed in, but the truck traffic that was mentioned, because I'm looking at this, and as most people know, I'm the engineer of the group up here, and I'm trying to understand that, and I can't wrap my head around that piece, and I would like to understand that.
Okay,
So-
that truck traffic would follow the route that it follows today, rather than diverting it onto the new alignment.
Yeah, and
But we can certainly address that.
yeah, it'd be great.
I just think we're going to have some questions that go beyond what we can do today.
I think so,
And
too.
I realize that we need to move along here. This thing has drug out for several years, but I can't imagine 30 days is 20 years. Other
Yeah.
commissioners.
Just want to, first of all, thank everybody for coming out. I was very impressed. Presentations that were made, very articulate issues and concerns that you have. So I just want to thank you for your time, and I'm sure we're all going to be, as we deliberate here, take all these concerns into our decision-making process. Thank you.
Yeah, and just to echo that, I mean, the level of professionalism everybody in the room had today is pretty impressive. I know this is an emotional topic, and I really appreciate everybody's approach and discussing it with us as you did. It's pretty refreshing. So thank you.
Very refreshing. Thank you for your professional.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just a couple of questions. I do want to get an answer, so I'm kind of you. I'd like to have some answers. This is the access to the farmland. I mean, they mentioned a couple of times that they would basically, I assume we can't deny access to a piece of property. We have to make provisions to allow access to a property. Or do we have some properties that will
There'll be
not have
access, but it may not be
Be
the
where they
direct
want it?
access on the new facility. That's part of what we work through, but no, we don't deny access altogether.
Right, yeah, you can't leave a piece of property, especially if we bisect it, you can't leave it high and dry where, yeah, okay. So you are taking that into consideration, and we're making provisions that allow people access to their land.
Yes.
Okay, yeah, good. Thank you, Mr.
Commissioner Baker, do you have anything further to say?
I would just add my thanks for everyone being here today and sharing your thoughts. This is why we have these types of meetings for public comment, and we listen. And I agree that we should take some more time, a bit more time, and have some answers to some of the questions that were raised today.
Yeah, we
Okay.
waited this long. Greg's been here the longest. Do you have anything you'd like to add to this discussion?
No, I mean, I understand everybody's concerns and I'm fine with taking some time to make the decision. I think this thing's gone on for a long, long time and it needs to come to a head. We need to decide what we're going to do. But till we get some questions answered, I totally understand what you're saying. And I totally understand everybody in the room that their concerns too. But so I would direct the director to get these answers, get them quick,
Yep.
and make the decision in December to us.
That's why I
Yeah.
picked 30 days. Vice Chairman Boatright, do you have any closing thoughts?
Nothing else.
We got a question here.
We have a question on the
Yes.
floor.
I have one thing I want to comment on. I know I declined, but in 1962, on my farm, or my dad's farm, he told me to go on the back ridge to check on my little Honda. Went up the back ridge, and there's a great big white X on the backside of the farm. So when I got in the house, I asked Dad, I said, hey, what's the big cross deal on the backside of the farm on the ridge? He said, well, son, someday there's going to be a dual lane highway right through the house and the barn. And that was in 1962. So I think if we could really sit back and look at this whole picture again, I mean, what's another couple years or a year or a few months to really study this thing out? That's all I have to say.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you.
Our biggest concern is, we know this is coming, whether it's coming now or that we get this stopped and it comes later. We know eventually it's coming. We all accept that. We understand progress and we embrace that. But it is so important to do it right. And at this juncture, it's not being done right enough.
Not done right enough. Yeah, okay, thank you. Yes, ma'am. We're going to have to cut off the testimony here, but please, while you're here.
I just have a little bit to say. I invite you all to come down to Westphalia and see what the situation really is. Because the 4 lanes coming in and going right back out, there's just no room. There's just no room. So I wish that some of you or anybody would come down and look at the situation and see how cramped there. It's just going to be nothing but a big congestion. That's going to cause more accidents. That's all. Thank
Well, we
you.
may have the opportunity to take a quick drive down there. Do they still have the fried chicken place?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, well, that's important to me. I know that.
Yeah, you can even spend the night down there.
Oh, well, thank you. Thank you very much. Westphalia Inn, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I've been there. That's not bad.
Oh,
That's pretty good. Okay. Well, again, on behalf of the commission, oh, yes, Director.
I just want to make sure that for the folks that are here, our commission meeting in December is in Springfield. So we will be, today we moved the commission from Kansas City to come do this because we thought it was important. Probably when we do this, after we get the answers, we're going to be in Springfield. I don't know if that's a imposition. It's a little farther south and you have to come north. But just so you know, we're going to have our monthly meeting. It's been scheduled in Springfield in December.
I don't think we'd be able to come back here from Springfield, but so basically what I've heard the consensus of the commission is we're going to defer action on this for 30 days. We're going to task the director, the district engineer and her team to make a list of the questions that were presented. And then we're going to want to have answers to those. For any of us who might have the wherewithal to be here in central Missouri sometime between now and 30 days, join me and might go take a drive through here and take a look and maybe even stop by the Westphalia Inn, who knows? But probably gonna do that, just see it with my own eyes. And we will at a minimum bring this back up at the next meeting in 30 days. And in the meantime, if you would please prepare the department's response to these questions, particularly the ones that were mentioned more than once. Consideration within 30 days for there's nothing further to say. We're in recess. So now I want to advise the group that our next meeting is scheduled for December 3rd, 2025. We will be in Springfield. We invite everyone to join us there, but I realize that's a bit of a drive.
What's the address?
It'll be posted. It's at the Doubletree.
Yes.
At the
Doubletree.
Doubletree on Glenstone, I think, so. Okay, we'll look forward to seeing you then. With that, do I have a motion for adjournment?
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor will say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no. The ayes have it, and we stand adjourned.